It is vastly cheaper than employing judges and lay people to go through a tribunal claim.
It's also far cheaper, isn't it, on the costs? I think I heard a figure not long ago that the average cost of a claim, legal cost to an employer of a claim that gets to a tribunal, is about £8,500.
That is a cost without even thing of time and commitment to actually defending things like people being interviewed and so on. I think that was just the background legal.
Yeah, and that's without compensation or anything.
Yeah, and it vastly increases as well for things like if you're taking 3 or 4 witnesses from you, because you'll have had to interview them and so on throughout the time scale. So yeah, there are big costs.
Do you impose a maximum time period?
There used to be a limited time period, and that may come back with obviously the advent of all claims coming through us. There will be a time period specific to that.
If you find that one party is just filibustering, dragging it on, it's quite obvious.
Some will wait to the last minute. It's who blinks first.
Yeah.
You can discuss it with parties. No, I'm not going to settle. I'm going to defend, or I'm going to pursue it all the way. 2 days before, in fact, I got a call this morning. Somebody on the phone, due for a hearing tomorrow. Don't really want to go. Can you see if they want to resolve for this amount?
You do a deal, last minute.
Yeah. And it does sometimes come to who makes the first move. I always say to everybody, claimants, employers, reps, anybody, 3 consequences of any proposal. 1, it can be accepted, great, we move on, we produce a legally binding document to the parties. Second consequence is they're too far apart, rejected outright. I've got one at the moment, somebody's looking for 50,000, the employer's offered £150. Never going to settle it, they're like that. Yeah. The third one, most common, you get is an offer's made, it's rejected, a counter proposal comes through. So you get into a horse trading situation. I don't know until a proposal's made. But yeah, you get people waiting. Sometimes you get legal advisors waiting to the last minute. Speaking to a couple of legal reps, it could be because they're on insurance or so on. Now, there's lots of things that can influence the conciliation. Hopefully, it doesn't affect the figures too much. Well, it hasn't. Okay. You can see a breakdown there. 24% of cases are unfair dismissal. Wages Act, things like holiday pay, wage slips, wages themselves count for 16%, breach of contract 13%, equal pay 13%. They're the ones that we do for councils and so single status ones, some slight other ones. Sex discrimination 5%, redundancy 6%, so you get to the lower end of the figures. And discrimination comes under from really sex discrimination under to other. Are there any questions on the stats? I don't want to bore too much with stats. No? Okay. Mentioned mediation before. We do offer mediation. It can be done in your open track cases as well. For those discrimination cases where there is an existing employment relationship. Maybe it's somebody who doesn't want to go back or feel uncomfortable about going back into the workplace because of the issues that have been raised. Well, we can offer mediation free. Normally it's a charged service, an expensive charged service, £1,000 a day. But through open track cases, bear in mind, if you feel it will benefit you, the claimant or the employer, let us know, we can always offer it.
And mediation, again, it's fine.
No, mediation is never binding. It's not a legal commitment. So it could be that it doesn't work and it's still ongoing. We do find it's a very high success rate though, because it usually clears the air. But any sort of mediation is not binding. It's not deciding, judging. You don't even tell the employer the outcome. Especially for charged ones, the employer pays for it. We don't tell the employer the outcome of mediation.
You just tell it so.
Unless the parties want the employer to know.
Yeah,
we just,
to help out resolving issues.
And if it breaks down, we don't go back and say, oh, such and such is fault. We just say, sorry, mediation was unsuccessful. It has no impact.
How people come to you for mediation? I mean,
through our helpline again.
Through the helpline.
Yes.
The other party has to agree to it, obviously.
Yes.
For the mediation.
Yeah. Yeah. It's usually raised by one particular party, obviously,
Exactly.
rather than both coming to it, because it usually means they're not
Yeah.
conversing with each other.
Decided he's not happy,
Yeah.
obviously, with it.
It's similar to judicial mediation as well.
In mediation, in this respect, like a lot of these things, you don't have to have someone actually going ahead with the employment tribunal for that. If they just, before they even got to that stage, where they have all the case, but they haven't put any words or anything, they can go for the mediation.
Under pre-claim conciliation, there's no mediation under pre-claim conciliation at this stage. So it would be a paid-for service. Yeah. And that's the difficulty, that's a barrier there. There are discussions ongoing.
Okay, thanks.
Are we okay with that? Okay. And it is a very successful, and if anybody's involved in it, or even we do workplace mediation courses. If you're ever involved in it, you will find it, one, very hard work, but two, very rewarding work as well.
Is that a charge for the course?
Yes, there is,
Yeah, it is.
and it's a significant charge. It's a big ticket item that we do. Yes, I think it's somewhere in the region of 5,000. Because it's a week-long course.
Yeah.
But it's a recognised certificate as well at the end. Okay. Here's our contact information. If those of you can't see it, our helpline, again, I can't extol the virtues of our helpline more. I even use it on occasion. Get to that, especially for new up-to-date information. 08457 474747. And you can, refer people on. You can use it yourselves. You can even ask employers to do it. We also have a lot of information on our website, acas.org.uk. There's a lot of training on there as well, free.
They have booklets, don't they?
Booklets, yeah. What they've started doing is cutting down on the amount of physical booklets that you have. Obviously, it's a government, national characteristic these days to save money. So a lot of it is in PDF formats, or most of our leaflets. But there is up-to-date information there. Is anyone registered for the newsletter, by the way? Acas newsletter?
We're going to be. Well, I mean, in Cardiff, we were offered the option of sending out email addresses. So
yes, if you want to do that.
Yeah.
What it does, it will put you on a newsletter, and every 3 months something will go out and say, look, this is on the horizon, or these are cases that you may find interesting, or this is trading that's ongoing. Not signing up to anything, but especially with the amount of changes that are going to come up in the next year or so, it might be beneficial if you are registered. Lots of information on the Business Link websites. Again, things like calculation, holiday pay entitlements and so on, discrimination and so on. And the DirectGov UK websites, which I'm sure you're familiar with. And the very last one, just a general picture of it all. I know I've gone on there, but anything that I haven't covered, or any other questions about anything about Acas, my role, conciliation, mediation, anything at all? No?
I've got
Sorry.
there was something in the sign up to one of these paralegal newsletters.
Yeah.
And one of the things that came out was apparently all the cases before they go to tribunal, they have to go through Acas. There was a big debate about that. How likely is it that that's
It's going to be. It got announced last week. There's some of the initiatives that are going to come in force. The 2-year rule is one, that you can only claim unfair dismissal with 2 years service. And the other one was all claims will come through Acas for a month, I believe the time scale is.
Is it still going to be a pre-claim system?
It's not, because it's going to be exactly the same.
Yeah, but
Don't get me wrong,
it's perception, isn't it?
Yes,
if it's
it's
seen as
perception.
being a legal process,
Yeah.
that's part of the employers might have been more happy about it.
We haven't been told the ins and outs. So it's when a claim is actually lodged. Now, we don't know if the employer will still get a copy of that claim, or whether it'll come to us and say, we use it like a pre-claim. Actually, we've received this claim, they're going to lodge it in a month's time. Do you want to try and resolve the issue before then?
Fingers
But
crossed.
yes, it will be coming in.
And is that to kind of like catch up with all the backlogs and stuff? With the kind of
It's purely expense. The biggest pre-claim conciliation is probably one of the most costliest elements for Acas, but it's far cheaper than having a claim lodged at a tribunal, arranging hearing dates, setting case management down, and so on. So purely for tax, cheap, really.
Do we know if it's going to change the time limits?
Sorry.
And all the extra work in the second and the budget remains the same, right?
Yes. Real terms, obviously, it's a reduction, but let's face it, I don't know of a government department who has it. Pardon?
Obviously, haven't got enough to do.
Obviously not. So more work you give us. Coming on to that, I would say we're more of a reactive service these days than proactive. Over time, we have started losing our links to the community, business and employees and so on, mostly because of the amount of claims we're getting, so it's more reacting to that process. When the claims reduce, if the claims reduce, then we'll be able to get out there a lot more. Sorry,
So I was just going to ask, what happens to time limits? Does it stall the process?
yes, they're saying it will stall. That was the last information I got, was it will stall for me.
So you still have to be within time, and then it holds. Anything happens for
From
one
what
month.
I last read, and I can't guarantee this because we haven't had the actual official documentation through it, is that it would stop the time limits as well.
Okay, so you
For
get
that
an
month.
extra month.
Yes, in effect. That was the last I read.
Oh.
But again, not 100%.
Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you very much for that, Stuart. And quite a compelling argument for advisors, for you lot to use Acas. We'll have Acas details on the website, on the movement site.